Hi! Let's talk about Go-Go today. It's a fun song, but it's tricky to understand without the Korean context. 탕진 is often mistranslated to just mean spend, but there's more to it. 탕 is a Chinese character for sweep away, and 진 is also a Chinese character for exhaust. So better translations of 탕진 would be either waste away or blow it all. 달려 means run, but by blurring its pronunciation from 달려 to 달러, it becomes a pun for money. When you put run and money in one word, you can picture people running after the money. At the same time, 달려 is also used to describe doing something all night, usually drinking the night away. But the real message in this part is in 내가 벌어, 내가 사치. This line may sound plain, but there is a slightly defensive undertone to this, meaning it's my money, and if I decide to spend it on luxuries, it's none of your business. With student loans, shrinking job markets, and soaring housing prices, the playing field for the young people isn't quite fair. But then, grown-ups and the mainstream media make things worse by judging young people for spending money when they're not supposed to. Grown-ups tend to think the young are not in the place to express their desires. Captain Nemo is a character from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He's a captain of a submarine that travels all around the world. And Nemo is likely not his real name because it means no one in Latin. So this part may describe how young people might want to escape and leave this treadmill behind. Onojiro is the name of the famous Japanese sushi chef whose omasake menu costs $300 or more. But the taste and the experience is said to be worth the price. Young people may be broke, but they still want to experience the good things in life. Not because they are vain, but because anyone should be able to dream good things in life. Or, onojiro can be simply a pun for "Oh no, zero!" when you see your bank account. Or it may have to do with 지로용지, which is the invoice and payment stub still commonly used for utility bills and tax payments in Korea. 티끌 모아 티끌 literally means little specks make little specks. It is a parody of a Korean proverb, 티끌 모아 태산, which means little specks make the great mountain, equivalent to little drops make the mighty ocean. A penny saved is a penny earned, but the young people are not convinced it's the right thing to do anymore because your meager savings are just not enough to buy the home, build a family, or do the work that you love. 탕진잼 is introduced here for the first time. 잼 is short for 재미, which means fun, like no 잼 means no fun. But as a slang, 잼 can have a more witty or depressing connotations, like 야근잼 is a joy of working overtime, but you don't mean it. You say it's fun because you have no other choice. So there's more to 탕진잼 than just the joy of spending, but we'll get to that part soon. Now they're clearly telling the judgmental grown-ups to leave them alone. Whatever they spend their money on, it's none of your business. 과소비 means excessive spending. The term became popular in the 1997 Asian financial crisis when South Korean economy suddenly tanked and many people lost their jobs. Back then, the Korean government and the media blamed the public for the crisis, that the Korean people had become so vain and they spent too much, when there were other reasons that were more significant. So the word 과소비 is almost a trigger for a collective trauma, something that you should be ashamed of. But at the same time, it was a propaganda that blames the victim. So this part could mean, yes, I am insane for blowing this all away, but am I really the one to blame? 쥐구멍에 벼들다 is a Korean proverb saying even a mouse hole gets the sunlight one of the days, meaning every dog has his day. BTS could be either telling us to keep trying, or they could be warning us against believing in a breakthrough that may never come. So what does 탕진잼 mean, the fun of blowing away all your money? Not quite. It's a self-deprecating term to describe the tiny indulgence young people occasionally award themselves. The moment where young people allow themselves to spend money on tiny purchases like stationery items or K-pop idol goods, things that are anywhere between 50 cents to $50. It's the rare moment when the broken youth can feel like they have any financial agency or qualify as a consumer, although the society has decided they don't deserve it. You might think, how can it be fun to blow away the little money you have? You have to be really worried for your future. Well, unless you already knew there was no future. In fact, it would be the rational thing to do to spend the resources that you have right now so that you can feel happiness here and now. Also, 탕진 usually means blowing away a large sum of money, like your lifetime savings or a big inheritance. However, because today's youth is broke to begin with, the fact that the young people chose the word 탕진 to describe their behavior is a satire in itself. In this context, the meaning of YOLO is also somewhat different from what you might expect. YOLO is used when you embrace adventures or some sort of grand living. But in Korea, it carries a more pessimistic tone. Hey, just spend it now because we're all gonna be broke. So, unlike what some of you may have read, and unlike Spinebreaker, this is not a criticism of today's youth. Also, this song has elements that remind me of fairy tales. There's the flute sound. And when BTS performs this song on the stage, they have this cute outfit and jumpy dance moves like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All of this combined, this song has Fable-like quality. This may be a clever way for BTS to tell us that instead of a sharp criticism, this is a tongue-in-cheek satire, like a witty skit. Your week looks like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then 3 Fridays. The weekend never comes. It's a common expression now that you have to work 7 days a week to just have ends meet. Often it's not from one stable employment, but you have to hold multiple part-time jobs. Dok is a traditional pottery vessel in Korea, and 밑 빠진 dok is a jar with a leaky bottom. It's a reference to a Cinderella-like folk story where this poor kid, Kongji, is ordered to fill up this leaky jar by her stepmother. 붓는다 means pouring liquid. This verb is also used to mean depositing money into 적금, which is a specific kind of installment savings account common in Korea. So just like pouring water down this leaky jar, filling up your bank account is an impossible task. Instead of torturing yourself to this impossible task, why don't you just break the jar? For once today, instead of torturing yourself, give yourself a green light and do what you want. This part also refers to the popular card game called Go Stop. Each card belongs to a month. When the card in your hand is from the same month as the card on the table, you get points. When you collect 3 points, you have to either call Go or Stop. If you call Stop, you win the points and the game ends. If you call Go, the game continues and you have the chance to increase your points. But there's also a risk that another player may call stop first and you may lose the points. 쫄다 means to reduce, shrink, or be scared. So don't be too scared, don't play it too safe. Instead, call go and take risk. Now let's talk about the shit part. There's a well-known expression, 아끼다가 똥 된다, which means if you don't actually use what you have, it'll become shit. It'll become useless, worthless. And 벽에 똥칠한다 is another expression meaning paint the wall with your shit to illustrate a miserable end of your life when you have no mobility and you cannot control your bowel movement. But of course, the shit reference is also used in the game of Go Stop. When you get certain bad card combinations, they say you have pooped, diarrhea. So if you hold on to your cards for too long, it can bite you back. So this part says, instead of worrying about what you will lose and limiting your spirit, go ahead and try things. Because if you don't, your life will become miserable and worthless. With 고민보다 go, BTS is once again speaking for the youth. In a press interview, Suga said the society doesn't seem to understand why young people say things like YOLO or 탕진잼, and this is our take on why. So through GoGo, BTS is describing the reason behind this seemingly irrational behavior and sympathizing with the youth.